Welcome to the main news on a Tuesday. I'm Justin Matlala. Of course, I want to give a special welcome and introduction to my co-host tonight, Sibukele Maposa. Not from our Montreal studios this time, but she's right here at our Pocket Hill studios in Harare. Welcome to Harare, Sibukele.
Thank you very much, Justin. It is an honor being here with you and doing this bulletin. Of course, I'd like to acknowledge Susan Masona on the sign language. Jason later on, Arthur Evans going to take us on from our Montreal Newsday series over there.
Well, it's good to have you, and let's do this.
It's a pleasure.
These are our top stories tonight. President Emmerson Mnangagwa meets former Vice President of Zambia and a delegation from Namibia's SWAPO party.
Zimbabwe is seeking Zimbabwe support at the African Development Bank for presidency.
In business, Zimbabwe attracts regional and global investors on the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange.
And in sport, German expatriate Michael Nies is appointed Warriors head coach.
We'll now get into the stories in detail. Zambia is seeking Zimbabwe's support for the position of President of the African Development Bank following the dispatch of former Vice President Honorable Enoch Kavindele to Harare by President Hakainde Hichilema. Honorable Kavindele met President Emmerson Mnangagwa at State House this Tuesday. Our chief correspondent Ruben Barwe gives us more.
Zambia and Zimbabwe are Siamese twins as the Zambian president, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, dispatched one of the former vice presidents of Zambia to Zimbabwe, Mr. Enoch Kavindele, to ask for Zimbabwe's support for the position of the president of the African Development Bank for elections due next May. This is Mr. Samuel Maimbo, who is currently the vice president of the World Bank. Mr. Kavindele, who married a Zimbabwean woman from the Bebe family in Berengwa for the past 50 years, has been Zimbabwe's son-in-law. He spoke to journalists.
Wishing brother and the people of Zimbabwe the best when they take over the chairmanship of SADC. And of course also to seek my elder brother's support and that of Zimbabweans. We have a candidate we are trying to sell to the region who wants to become president of the African Development Bank. This man works at the World Bank, he's a vice president there, but he wants now to come and be in Africa with us. So we said, well, we will go to a senior person across the Zambezi and tell him. So we haven't gone anywhere else at all. We had to come and support. Thank you very much. Thank you. And as you heard His Excellency has assured us of his support for our candidate. I have a family. My wife is from Berengwa. So just give me some land also. I have a small farm there, indeed. So I am
married here.
I'm married here, yes.
From the baby family.
Yes.
So you're home.
Yes. And this is 52 years ago when I married her. Still together.
The president, Comrade Emmerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa, who grew up in Zambia and at one time was in the Youth League of the United Independence Party UNIP, led by Kenneth Kaunda, with Mr. Kavindele, had time to reminisce over their time together.
My younger brother, this one. And look, we come from far together in Zambia for a very long time. I think over 50 years together.
Oh, yes.
So when he comes here, I'm just seeing my brother. And after that, then we'll go to official business. After we talk about our appointment.
Yes, you could see with the body chemistry that the two have been very close for many years. Former Vice President Kavindele was in the Chiluba and Mwanawasa administrations, also held several ministerial positions in the Kaunda and Chiluba governments, before being elevated to Vice President of the Republic of Zambia. Ruben Barwe, ZBC News, State House, Harare.
A delegation from the ruling Southwest Africa People's Organization, SWAPO of Namibia, has paid a courtesy call on President Emmerson Mnangagwa at State House in Harare this Tuesday.
On the 27th of November 2024, the ruling Southwest Africa People's Organization, part of Namibia, locked horns with the Independent Patriots for Change, IPC, of Panduleni Tula and the Popular Democratic Movement, PDM, of McHenry Venani. The SWAPO Secretary General, Sophia Shaningwa, paid a courtesy call on the President, Comrade Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa at State House, accompanied by her Zimbabwean counterpart, Comrade Obert Mpofu. After an hour, she emerged from the meeting energized and spoke to journalists.
We are really very aware as former revolutionaries. We are not retired yet. We are awakened in 24/7 on duty. We have heard about these counter-revolutionaries and the imperialists that are busy supporting and funding the opponents to remove the revolutionary parties off seat. And therefore, it's not a secret, it's an open secret that our opponents are being supported, but we have to strengthen our mobilization with our people to still believe in us, because we brought peace, we brought stability, and we brought also economic advancement to everybody. So there should be no reason why our people cannot believe in us. And therefore, SWAPO Party and ZANU-PF, we are here to strengthen one another, to exchange the information, and also just to move forward, knowing that we are at war. The imperialists want to take us off power, and we are going to work very hard to maintain our governance.
Maybe off guard the ANC experience of South Africa.
It's a very sad development, but we are not going to let ANC down. It's our sister party, and we will still reassemble ourselves and come back as Secretary Generals to analyze the situation and to see how we can re-strengthen ourselves for the survival of ANC going forward.
So the three former liberation movements, that is Frelimo of Mozambique, SWAPO of Namibia, BDP of Botswana, are all going to the polls before the end of the year. Lessons were learned, challenges accounted for in Zimbabwe, Angola, and South African elections. Ruben Barwesa, Pressing News, State of Harare.
Government has announced that the cholera outbreak that began in February last year is now officially over. This came out during today's post-cabinet media briefing.
In February 2023, Zimbabwe recorded its first case of cholera that led to an outbreak nationally. Presenting this Tuesday's post-cabinet media briefing, the Minister of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services, Dr. Jenfan Muswere, highlighted that in the past 30 days, no new case has been recorded in all 63 districts of the country.
The Ministry of Health and Child Care would also want to inform the nation that as of today, we have had 30 days without a single case of cholera in all our 63 districts, and that the last case was on the 30th of June 2024 in Beitbridge. Therefore, we are now declaring that the cholera outbreak, which started in February 2023, is officially ended.
In response, the Minister of Health and Child Care, Dr. Douglas Mombeshora, spoke of various initiatives introduced by government in ending the cholera scourge while urging citizens to adhere to health standards.
The interventions that we undertook as ministry, as government, as a society, those interventions have yielded results that we wanted. That is to make sure that we suppress the cholera. There are other issues that we have to continue working on, because the bug is still in the community. It's always there. Cholera is about basic hygiene and sanitation.
Cabinet also deliberated on the food deficit mitigation strategy by government, in which over 100,000 metric tons of grain have been distributed so far out of an estimated 130,000 metric tons as part of efforts to cushion all affected persons nationally.
Grain distribution is progressing well in most districts, with grain stocks at local grain marketing board depots, which had experienced diminished stocks being replenished. During the period 16 to 24th of July 2024, a total of 14,364 metric tons of grain was distributed, bringing the cumulative total for the months May to June 2024 to 101,170 metric tons out of an expected 138,000 metric tons. Under the Urban Cash for Cereal program, training for both officials and community child care workers has commenced. Meanwhile, registration of beneficiaries is expected to be complete by the end of July 2024, which paves way for the commencement of cash disbursements in August 2024.
Report on the manufacturing sector performance under the Second Republic and contribution to the national gross domestic product, along with employment opportunities, were also discussed.
Cabinet considered the report on the state of the local industry as presented by the Minister of Industry and Commerce, Honorable Mangaliso Ndlovu. The report centered on the manufacturing sector's performance under the Second Republic, specifically focusing on the sector's contribution to the country's gross domestic product, capacity utilization, employment, exports, and investments, among other performance indicators.
Cabinet also discussed 100-day cycle projects such as construction progress at Karo Platinum Mine, construction of the VVIP wing at the Robert Gabriel Mugabe International Airport, progress at Mbuzi Interchange, among other infrastructure development projects in line with the National Development Strategy 1. Olin Ndori, ZBC News, Harare.
Iran's new president, Dr. Pezeshkian, has been sworn in the presence of several world leaders and international dignitaries, among them Zimbabwe's Vice President Kembo Mohadi.
Now, world leaders are gathered here at the iconic Iran Parliament building to witness the swearing-in ceremony of the new Iran president. A high-level show of commitment, Zimbabwe's presence at the inauguration ceremony for Iran's new president, Dr. Masoud Pezeshkian, cements the mutual bond between the two countries. Vice President Comrade Kembo Mohadi, attending on behalf of President Emmerson Mnangagwa, was among high-profile delegates including 10 presidents, prime ministers, ambassadors, and special envoys from both within Africa and the international community. At the swearing-in ceremony, Iran expressed gratitude to the visiting officials and stated commitment to further strengthen its foreign policy with key partners.
And I'd like to appreciate the authorities of the governments, friendly governments, who have given us honor to join us. And I hope that the friendly relationship between us and the other countries would develop day after day.
Dr. Pezeshkian took oath of office this Tuesday to a full parliament to become the 9th president after winning the presidential runoff elections held on the 5th of July this year. Zimbabwe attaches great importance to its friendship with Iran and is willing to deepen cooperation in such key areas as infrastructure, agriculture, mining, and health to push bilateral relations to a higher level. Already there has been assurance from the leadership that there will be continuation on various memoranda of understanding already agreed between the two countries. This to be continued under the new leadership. Theophilus Chuma, ZBC News, Tehran.
A memorandum of understanding signed between the SADC Secretariat and the Association of Regional Intellectual Property Rights, ARIPO, is expected to accelerate industrialization of the region by safeguarding intellectual property rights, especially on new innovations.
The SADC Executive Secretary, His Excellency Elias Makhosi, and ARIPO Director General Mr. Benyama Twebaze cited the signing of the agreement as key in safeguarding intellectual property rights.
These are the rights that we want to develop in the region, develop in the member states, develop in industries. As I was saying earlier on, you do have rights that people develop. People have got expertise, skill that they originate in their respective countries, in the respective industries. You need to protect those. Now, many a times, citizens, businesses, governments do not have the skill or the wherewithal first to develop and to protect these. This is where ARIPO comes in, because they've got extensive expertise in developing this and also in capacitating to make sure that we are able to have those rights.
When we talk about this partnership, we are going to be focusing on specific issues, for example, capacity building. When we talk about intellectual property, it's not as well known, as well developed in the member states, SADC and Africa at large. So we are going to be working with SADC to build capacity of the member states.
Meanwhile, representatives from investment agencies in the region have outlined opportunities abound in their respective countries, while the Afrexim Bank pledged a commitment to finance developmental projects.
Reasons for you to come to invest in Malawi are quite obvious: low political risk, streamlined investment process which is improving all the time, and we've got attractive incentives.
As I've said, it was qualified as an overcrowded barracoon, which means that we were overpopulated. But today we lack labor in Mauritius. We are bringing labor from different countries, from Nepal, from India, from China, from Bangladesh, from Madagascar, to work.
As part of that process, we've created a range of instruments to facilitate intra-African trade and intra-African investment. And so far, under our last Plan 5, which ran from 2017 to 2012, we disbursed over 20 billion in trade and finance facilities.
The SADC Industrialization Week continues, and President Emmerson Mnangagwa is expected to officially open the proceedings and tour exhibition stands this Wednesday. Owen Mandova, ZBC News, Harare.
Matabeleland North Province is excited about the focus that is on Zimbabwe during the SADC Industrialization Week and the upcoming SADC Summit. The province is optimistic that more regional interactions will open bigger investment opportunities in tourism, agriculture and mining.
With all the focus on Zimbabwe during the SADC Industrial Week and the upcoming conference, the province is hoping for a slice of business through increased visits, while also showcasing investment opportunities in its agriculture and mining sectors.
Ama-mines njenge-province senza kuhle kakhulu kugebha i-coal, o-lithium, o-gold, esikhangelele ukuthi sifuna more partners abavela kwamanye ama-province kumbe abavela kuma-SADC region ukuthi sizosebenzisana. Iscience ezayenziwa yi-Ministry of Agriculture ngoba kwakwazakala kuthiwa ilupane lubhuqwa akulimeki, but namhlanje sile irrigation scheme enhle okumangalisayo ibubi lupane irrigation scheme, sibuye irrigation scheme esebhinga ibulawayo pro wathi ebhinga kuyachisa kakhulu akulimeki, but nansi sesilayo ibulawayo irrigation schemes.
The province says its historic contribution within mining and tourism economies are enough of a pull factor for regional and international investors.
Ubuye ku-tourism, njenge-Mat North ku-tourism siyalida, i-Victoria Falls, iWhangke National Park, entweni eziningi esifisa ukuthi amanye ama-province bebuye bezokopa kumbe amanye amazwe avelele SADC bezobona ukuthi siyenza njani eMatabeleland North Province.
As the SADC Industrialization Week progresses, Matabeleland North Province is on an aggressive drive to showcase its potential as an investment destination. Mhlomuli Ncube, ZBC News, Hwange.
The Agroecology Conference has kicked off in Harare with stakeholders deliberating on sustainable agricultural practices in the wake of climate change.
Farmers and stakeholders in the agricultural sector drawn from at least 6 countries that include Zimbabwe, Zambia, Eswatini, Kenya and South Africa are meeting in Harare to deliberate on climate-resilient agricultural practices in the wake of climate change and the devastating effects of El Nino.
It's a regional conference bringing people together from Eswatini, Zambia, South Africa, Malawi and Zimbabwe to share their experiences on agroecology. Now that's a bit of a technical term, but what I understand from it is it's climate-smart agriculture. How can we help people be food secure?
We are faced with a lot of drought in the southern region,
And we feel that agroecology offers solutions to try and address these challenges that we are faced with. So we've brought together these different groups so that they can have a discussion, they share experience.
The major key takeaways from the conference were mainly to do with conservation farming, permaculture and organic farming, among other farming methods.
As we are seeing in many parts of our country and our continent, soils are quite degraded. So just continuing to add chemical fertilizers is not the answer. We have to think long term.
Once we start planting more trees, we are providing enough leaves to create mulch for our gardens. We are also providing shelter for birds, lizards and other different things.
Deliberations from the conference will also result in the crafting of a regional agroecology strategy which will guide coordinated efforts in research priorities and policy recommendations for participating countries. John Nandara, ZPC News, Harare.
Zimbabweans say more efforts and attention should be put toward the development agenda instead of other issues that derail the attainment of an upper-income middle-class society by 2030.
The Second Republic has initiated massive development projects to foster national growth and attain Vision 2030 of an upper-middle-income society. In light of this development agenda, the academia feels more attention should be directed towards development other than issues that derail the progress pace, such as succession issues.
The position that has been taken by those that are lobbying for this move to extend his tenure is a commendable one in one respect, in that people are appreciating the developmental efforts, the strategies, including our National Development Strategy 1, which will go into 2, the next phase. People are so optimistic because they've seen on the ground tangible results, things that are measurable, to say such and such a project has been started and completed in time, or at times in record time. And with that, people are so hopeful that if we retain his stewardship, we can then gain more out of him because of what he has done so far, and that is commendable. When people discuss these important matters about governance and leadership, they become so committed, so passionate, to the extent that you can undermine certain other pertinent and very important, equally important issues, such as those ones on development projects. Zimbabweans are hungry for development. There are so many areas where we are lagging behind as a nation, and it's important to realize that we need to face these other issues head on. We need to remove ourselves from a continuous election mode and realize some of these tangible projects that need to serve the best interests of the nation.
While acknowledging that the recommendations for President Emmerson Mnangagwa to go beyond 2028 are a show of affection and appreciation towards a leader who has achieved so much, another academic, Dr. Augustine Tirivangani, said this reaction was expected, especially after the president's landmark announcement on retirement. He, however, noted that politics of diversion is not expected now, particularly when the president is yet to even complete his first year in office since re-election.
The gross politics of diversion and destruction that we are coming across. And that question comes at a very timely time, where I think Zimbabweans need to be reminded what their sacred duty is, as opposed to jokes. We are just a few months from the election period, and our elections have been concluded. We have a sitting incumbent, and the sitting incumbent has not even spent half of the tenure of his second term, and people are already in the post-28 politics and succession debate. I think that's not only embarrassing. In my view, it is demeaning. We should be ashamed of that. My belief is that Zimbabweans who are conscious of the need to develop this country through the use of concerted effort should be spending their energies in the right direction. This idea of talking about succession at a time when the incumbent is barely a few days into office is typically an African. Instead of focusing our energies in a united and concerted manner towards these developmental projects and assisting our leadership, and I'm saying our leadership in their collective sense, that is the president and his vice presidents, the total leadership at all levels, instead of rallying behind them and working together seriously to ensure that Vision 2030 is achieved, to ensure that each end of these projects that has been embarked upon has been completed and completed with success. People are already wasting time on politics regarding a period that is essentially 3 years away.
Zimbabweans echoed the same sentiments, adding that politics should not override the development agenda.
The president has opened the floodgates for business people in this country. I am a businessman. Roads are being constructed, schools are being constructed, clinics, and everybody is happy with this that is happening now. We would like to see this thing going on and forever. That's why we are saying the Second Republic is doing what we want as a country. That's why you see people here and there, they are praising the president by leading this Second Republic the way he is leading the country.
Isusu sema youth turikufara nekuona budiriro riri kuitwa munyika medu. Turikuona zvatanisa tamboona kubva tichizvarwa kusvika pari nhasi. Chatiri kuona nhasi inonzi development, of which ndo chinhu chatiri kufanira kunge tichifokasa nacho kuti nyika yedu iende kumberi. Nyika yedu iendewo pamepu yekunge tiri pazvinhu zvinenge zvakanaka.
The unprecedented development that President Mnangagwa has brought into the country has not gone unnoticed. Hence recommendations from our avid followers to see him lead the country into Vision 2030. Ironically, the sentiments have ignited party politicking, whereby some members have started aligning themselves towards the succession discourse at the expense of development. John Nandara, ZPC News, Harare.
The First Lady, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa, has taken her blanket drive to Harare province, where beneficiaries, including the elderly, orphans, people with disabilities, child-headed families, and people with albinism, benefited.
There was jubilation at Harare's Queen Elizabeth High School this Monday when the First Lady, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa, distributed an assortment of goods, including blankets and groceries, to the elderly, child-headed families, and those with disabilities, as she continues to instill in communities a sense of responsibility for the needy at all times. Amai Mnangagwa has been moving around the country with a blanket drive to provide warmth and sustenance to vulnerable groups, and all the 10 provinces have benefited. In her address, Amai Mnangagwa spoke candidly against social vices, mainly drug abuse, child marriages, and gender-based violence. She also tackled the issue of cohabitation among tertiary students.
Vana vedu vezvikoro hapo vane vakomana vavo ipapa kumubvunza marambiro anoita asi ukatarisa mafambiro ake anotaura kuti ane mukomana. Tinoshivirika zvikuru titsvake maschool fees zvikuru kuti tibhadhare vana vedu vapa madzidzo epamusoro vari kuenda kumayunivhesiti vakumusoro. Mukaenda kumayunivhesiti izvozvo munyika medu vava kutogarisana vatovana baba nanamai ikoko. Isu kuno kumusha tiri kuti aiwa punhu akaenda kuchikoro. Izvo atova mukadzi wemunhu kuchikoro ikoko. Apa takatarisira zvikuru kumwana iyeyo wese mukomana kana musikana. Asi kana angopinda muzvitambo zvakafanana izvozvo atochinja. Hakuna chichabatika. Isu nyanye kuvasikana tazoona yaamimba yauya ndozvatakamutumira here izvozvo muchikoro. Mwana ngaachivimbika uyu ngaadzidze kutaura chokwadi pamiromo pake apa, ngaadzidze kuzvichengetedza pamiviri pake apa. Isu kana tatuma mwana kuchikoro hatina kutuma kuti anouya nemimba. MuHarare muno maita kunwa kwemadrugs, kusvuta kwazvo nokuzvibikwa kwacho zvese zvazoita kuti njere dzevazhinji dzarasika. Madhiragi aya akasiyana siyana ari kumhanya kupfungwa nezvemukati, mapapu moyo zvazonzi itsvo zvikazodini ndopazviri kunobata ipapo zvobatisisa zvakasimba. Handiti mazvinzwa, hausisiri munhu kana wabatwa zvinhu zvakafanana izvozvo. Saka madhiragi aya ngatiarwisei, haisi nyaya yemumwe chete, yanyaya yedu tese munyika.
The mother of the nation also held an interactive session with the crowd, inquiring from the elderly who is the family head between the husband and the wife.
Vana mbuya nasekuru mukuru ndiani pamba?
Mushande wa baba wazimuto. Ini amai ndopana ukendiri pasi pa baba azimuto. Asi vana ndinochengeta.
Mushando wedu tose namai. Asi pari zvino kwangu kumba kumaindi vatova muridzi womushando uda kugara pamba.
Dr. Mnangagwa also engaged young girls in an interactive session on relationship issues.
Depreciate mchana usingatozvione, maybe unongoida kuita unge vamwe uchishanda nepeer pressure, but iwe ndio unongochidepreciate in the end.
Kune shamwari nevandodzidza navandoono vanozviita vanenge vachizvitiro pamwe imari yavanenge vachida necompetition netikapa chedu sevana vechikoro. Iyo competition iyo ndakazviudza ini ndakati chio ndikaita competition ngandite competition chizviratidza kuti zvavainazvo izvi ndoda kuzozviitawo nemari yangu ini kwete nemari yemukomana iye ari kuchengetwa nevabereki vake.
She also shared lighter moments with the girls on social issues, adding that she will have another engagement with them again in an hunger session at their school. The girls were delighted, resulting in them taking it to the dance floor. Dr. Mnangagwa also rallied women to be dignified, living exemplary lives, since youngsters look up to them. In another act of benevolence, the First Lady also donated food hampers to the host school, Queen Elizabeth, Alan Wilson, Prince Edward, and girls' high schools. A permanent secretary in the Office of the Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Harare Metropolitan Province, Mr. Cosmos Cheringa, applauded the First Lady for numerous life-transforming initiatives.
Your passion once again is being demonstrated, and I would like to commend you for your unwavering dedication on behalf of the people of Harare Metropolitan Province. Ndinoda kukutenda izvikuru amai. The blankets that you are giving out today will go a long way in providing warmth and comfort to those in need.
Harare Metropolitan Province Education Director Mr. Joram Mupunza thanked Amai for her initiatives that have benefited the country's education sector. Colette Msanyera, ZBC News, Harare.
A joyous occasion indeed. Well, we'll now take a break, but before we go away, remember that you can always get more news across all social media platforms at ZBC News Online.
And here are stories still to come in this bulletin. In business, Zimbabwe lures regional and global investors on the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange. And later on in sport, German expatriate Michael Nice appointed Warriors head coach. We'll give you those stories and more when we return. Stay with us.
This is the currency we've been waiting for. A currency that's not just paper and coins, but a symbol of Zimbabwe's rich resources and stability. That's Zimbabwe Gold. This is ZIG. Let's dive into what makes ZIG not just a new currency, but a new beginning for Zimbabwe's economy. ZIG is born out of a blend of traditional and innovative financial wisdom, anchored in gold and precious metals, along with foreign currency reserves. This backing isn't just for show, it's a promise of stability and trust, ensuring that ZIG's value is as solid as the gold it's pegged to. From the bustling markets of Harare to the serene landscapes of rural Zimbabwe, ZIG is set to become the medium of exchange that's both reliable and accessible, with denominations ranging from ZIG 200 to ZIG 1 and even handy coins. It caters to every transaction, big or small. Transitioning to ZIG is a breeze. It's all about inclusivity, ensuring no one is left behind in Zimbabwe's financial renaissance. ZIG doesn't walk alone. It co-circulates with other foreign currencies under Zimbabwe's multi-currency system, enriching our financial landscape. It's a legal tender that not only simplifies transactions, but also restores confidence in our economy, promising a future where stability and growth go hand in hand. So why ZIG? Because it's more than just money. It's a symbol of Zimbabwe's resilience, a step towards an economy where stability is the norm, and every Zimbabwean can look forward to a prosperous future. Welcome to the era of Zimbabwe Gold, where our currency is our pride.
Days since the last day of last season, we are ready to do it all again.
Phil Foden is having the season of his life. Brilliant! Just brilliant! That is quite something!
Upgrade to Compact for $29 per month to get all the Premier League football action.
My name is Matthew Chiro. I'm here as a farmer. Kurima center ndokati watibatsirawo takaonawo manemesisi uye wakazotibatsirawo nemabhisa of fertilizers ukatipawo compound D uyewo neAN. Chibage chedu chasimukawo zvakanakawo. Other stage ratakazoshandisawo AN, chibage chedu chakasimukawo zvakanaka uye tikutarisirawo kuti tinge tine high grade. Kurima kune mari uye kurima center inotigonera.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Zimbabwe will, on the 12th of August, commemorate Heroes Day, a day set aside to honor those who sacrificed their lives for this country. In our Heroes feature tonight, Abigail Tembo looks at how Zimbabwe has managed to immortalize the country's heroes and heroines.
This is Leopold Takawira Street, one of Harare's busiest roads. It is a world away from the war that brought about the independence we enjoy today. But the echoes of that struggle for independence resonates in the names of our streets.
From Simon Muzenda Street in the capital to Joshua Ngomo Street in Bulawayo, the country's urban landscape is a tapestry of heroes. Every street name tells a story of courage, resilience, and sacrifice. It is a legacy that continues to inspire generations. These names serve as constant reminders of the sacrifices made by the brave men and women. Names like Robert Mugabe, Herbert Chitepo, Jason Moyo, Josiah Tongogara, Mbuya Nehanda, and Sekuru Kaguvi adorn major roads, transforming them into more than just addresses, but symbols of patriotism and a nation's gratitude. Curator of Historic Buildings in Zimbabwe at the National Museums and Monuments of Zimbabwe, Mr. Godfrey Nyaruwanga speaks on the importance of these names.
This is purely a national project where our icons are remembered for the braveness they did during the liberation struggle. And it's also there to remind the Zimbabwean nation that we have some people who dedicated their country and sacrificed their lives for the liberation of our humanity. So at the end of the day, Heroes Day should be twinned to these heroes so that each and everyone across Zimbabwe is able to know where we came and where we are going. This project is not for Harare only. Countrywide, in Victoria Falls, we are renaming. If you go to Mutare, we are renaming. If you go to Rusape, we have Chingaira Road. If you go to Mutare, we have Nyagumbo Way. So we are saying, if you go to Bulawayo as well, most roads have been named after the first liberation icons, and also this, with names of those who participated during the second Chimurenga War.
This year's Heroes Day and Defense Forces commemorations will be held under the theme Guaranteeing a Conducive Environment for Attaining Vision 2030. Road construction and infrastructure development are highlighted as key drivers towards achieving this national goal.
In a world that is constantly changing, the names on our streets remain a constant reminder of the foundation upon which Zimbabwe was built. Abigail Tembo, ZBC News, Harare.
The time for us to now cross over to Bulawayo, where we have Arthur, the only ace in the pack. Good evening to you, Arthur.
Well, thank you so much, Sibugele. Whether you remember me as Arthur or Ace, it's always a pleasure to be with you on the main news and seeing you at the Pocket Hill studio. Now, continuing with the same vein of remembering our heroes, war veteran and former Zimbabwe People's Revolutionary Army Deputy Chief of Training, Comrade Jack Mpofu, who died on Saturday, has been described as a leader and a man loved by all. He was 82.
Leaving behind a legacy of resilience and strength, war veteran and former ZIPRA Deputy Chief of Training, Comrade Jack Mpofu, succumbed to a suspected asthma attack on Saturday evening at his country back home in Bulawayo.
Ngizobethi lapha akusekho right akusekho kuhle la ngithi indaba bethi ngene ubone la ngingene ngithi ngiyafika ngiyamkhangela ebedroom lapha ngibone umuntu wena akusekho right ngathola ukuthi vele abanye ababefike emaqala kulami sebehambile baye ngapha epolice ngale kuyayenza ireport epolice uMpofu sesichile khona ngeSaturday around 7 between 8
ngizwile indumela yakhe ukuthi lale liqhawe igenge nje abafana abangaka nje abakhona lapha abangamasotsha basuke ezandleni zakhe enguye obatrainayo kwangijabulisa lami kuzwa uqhawe kamnowethu.
Fellow war veteran Comrade Makay Mpofu says he will remember the late as a leader and man who was loved by all.
I remember one time kuma range efundisa abantu ukudubula wengakhuthi wachale juba liphaphe emoyeni uMpofu ma usiyazingela ukhethe yena ehambela njengokomanda ma usiyazingela ethi impala lapha lifuna iphi yakhona zimile zizinenge eqale dure phezulu ukuthi zigijima eziyeqayo kwamfanele echaye wani kona ethi hambane thatha sekuhle.
Born Maketi Ndebele in the Chichi area of Plumtree in 1942, Comrade Jack Mpofu joined the liberation struggle in 1967 when he crossed the border to Zambia. During the war, he rose through the ZIPRA command ranks to become the military wing's Deputy Chief of Training. Grace Sibanda, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
In an attempt to keep up with the times, members of the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services have assured the nation that they will lobby for the completion of the digitalization process, which was stalled for 8 years.
The committee, which toured ZBC Montrose Studios in Bulawayo this Tuesday, was on a fact-finding mission to assess the progress made towards the country's transition from analog to digital broadcasting, which started in 2015. The legislators engaged with management and technical staff to gain first-hand insights into the challenges and opportunities facing the broadcasting sector towards digital migration.
We need to make sure we have enough transmitters across Zimbabwe so that the length and breadth of this country can actually receive a digital signal. We need to have the requisite equipment from both radio and TV to ensure that our people, the people of Zimbabwe, are having digital TV. What I can assure you with this committee is that we are going to make digitization our number one priority.
While acknowledging some progress, the chairperson highlighted the need for increased investment and a clear roadmap to expedite the process. The Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services also toured transmedia signal transmitters in Bulawayo this Tuesday and in Kamativi, Matebele North Province on Monday.
What we need now is government to fund this project. Yes, as I said, we are legislators. It means that we have to put the requisite legislation that also encourages or gives good money to this project.
As Zimbabwe strives to keep pace with global technological advancements, the successful implementation of digital broadcasting is seen as crucial for the country's socio-economic development. Elandmo, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
Well, it's great to see some of the faces that are often behind the television here at Montrose on that previous story. Now, moving on, the ongoing ZANU-PF cell restructuring exercise in Gwanda has received a major boost, with the district welcoming opposition youth of Collinborn who have graduated from the Chitepo School of Ideology this Tuesday.
There is excitement in the ranks and file of the ruling ZANU-PF party in Gwanda following the graduation of 11 youths who deserted opposition politics to enroll at the Chitepo School of Ideology. The youths, who are now members of ZANU-PF, say they're excited to be part of a great movement, promising to be part of the ongoing cell restructuring exercise.
At Chitepo School of Ideology, sifunde national history, imvelaphi yethu, talking about iland yethu, how we communicate with our land, ukuthi singobani njani, how do we own this land, njalo mele siyiphathe njani. If you know that you are a Zimbabwean, embrace your country, Zimbabwe.
The former opposition legislator, Comrade Lindiwe Maposa, who is on a drive to recruit more members from the opposition outfits, says she is motivated by the workmanship of President Emmerson Mnangagwa.
This is the group that went to Chitepo School of Ideology, but in our database we have over 50 that have come, and we are wishing ukuthi sizaletha abaningi. Abona ukuthi hayi njengabatsha esikhona thina singabuya sizojoyina ukhulu iphathi le ZANU-PF okusiphathele khona, and kule vision enkulu kakhulu elethwe ngubaba uMnangagwa. If you go to sector education, it has changed. You go to farming, the way things are happening, ngathi useguqule zonke izinto.
Welcoming the new members, ZANU-PF Gwanda DCC chairperson Comrade David Linda reaffirmed the Revolutionary Party's accommodative philosophy.
So far, sebeyamukele ku district, I have told the district executive there, the branch executive, ukuthi bahle babafake kuma cells, babe ngama members of ZANU-PF in terms of cells. The next stage which they are heading to is stage sokuthi siyathatha ama-cards after a restructuring exercise.
The ruling ZANU-PF party is currently working on cell restructuring program across the country. Providence Maranelli, ZBC News, Gwanda.
From sharing ideology, we continue to share stories between Montrose and Pocket Hill as we take you back to Pocket Hill for more news.
Thank you very much, Arthur. Such a pleasure seeing you on that end. We carry on with the bulletin from this end. In stories from beyond our borders, the men's triathlon at the Paris Olympic Games failed to take off as planned this Tuesday due to high pollution levels in the Seine River, leaving 55 triathletes who had been primed to work out their best course in limbo.
World Triathlon has noted that pollution levels in the Seine River remain too high and the men's triathlon could not proceed as scheduled. According to authorities, the race has been postponed to Wednesday, immediately after the women's event, which is scheduled for earlier on the same day. Reports say this is a blow to organizers who previously said they were confident water quality would improve in time for the race after heavy rains last Friday and Saturday left the river polluted. It is, however, still uncertain if the event will still take place, as the authorities have to check the bacteria levels Wednesday morning. And if it remains too high, both the men's and women's races are likely to be postponed to Friday. Paris authorities had promised to make the Seine swimmable as a legacy of the Games and spent over $1.5 billion United States dollars on wastewater infrastructure to contain sewage and minimize spillage into the waterway.
More than 40 people have been killed while several others are trapped after heavy rains triggered massive landslides in the southern Indian state of Kerala Tuesday morning. Kerala State Minister has revealed that rescue operations are underway, but heavy rains are hindering the search efforts. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has announced that government will assist victims of the landslide. Meanwhile, schools and colleges have been closed off in affected areas.
Hamas says Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has added new conditions and demands to a United States proposal for a ceasefire in Gaza, in a move they describe as a strategy to delay an agreement. In the meantime, negotiations on the main issues will continue in the coming days. Meanwhile, the Palestinian death toll from Israeli attacks in Gaza continues to rise, with over 39,000 people having been killed since the conflict started in October last year.
Stay tuned as we take a look at business next.
Zimbabwe announces a new initiative to ensure sufficient local currency in circulation. Starting June 10, swipe for Zig Cash at any HomeLink branch using your debit or credit card. Available in your Zig denominations 1, 2, 5, and 10 Zig. You can exchange your foreign currency for Zig Cash at the prevailing interbank exchange rate. The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe is ensuring that adequate Zig Cash is available for all, be it in public transportation, retailers, informal traders, and other key stakeholders. For more information, visit your nearest HomeLink branch. Thank you.
Zimbabwe will proudly host the 44th Ordinary SADC Summit of Heads of State and Government on August 17, 2024 in Harare. Preceding this landmark event are crucial meetings of SADC senior officials and the Council of Ministers setting the agenda for the summit. ZBC will cover all the action from these preparatory meetings to the summit itself across its TV, radio, and digital platforms. Advertisers are encouraged to seize this significant opportunity to enhance their brand's visibility locally and regionally through tailored advertising packages during the SADC meetings and summit. For more details on advertising opportunities, please contact Mildred on 0712-831-177 or Wilson on 0775-902-040 or email sales@zbc.co.zw.
Welcome back. Zimbabwe's thrust to set up a market for raising foreign currency towards industrialization is attracting regional and global interest. Australian stock exchange listed firm Invictus Energy is set to begin trading on the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange this Friday. The details.
A presentation on the opportunities offered by the foreign currency denominated trading market, the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange VFX, during the third day of the SADC Industrialization Week, reviewed the importance of the exchange in offering opportunities for regional companies to raise funds for growth. It also imaged that Invictus Energy, a firm that is into oil and gas, will become another active player on the market effective this Friday, with an intention to raise over $7.5 million United States dollars for further exploration and other discovery operations in the Muzarabani area.
As you know, Invictus, they are doing some work in Muzarabani on the oil and gas. So it will be our first oil and gas listing on the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange. And so it's a good opportunity that shows that the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange, as part of the International Financial Center, is becoming attractive for companies to come and raise money on the exchange.
Economist Mr. Denny Meyer believes that the establishment of the foreign currency capital raising market in Zimbabwe is vital for SADC companies to take part in broadening their scope of business activities.
It was good that Victoria Falls Stock Exchange had a platform at this event, the SADC Industrial Week, and let's hope that they can now take it on a roadshow into the region and see. We're not competing with stock exchanges that exist, whether it be in Malawi or in Zambia or in Namibia or the JSC in South Africa. We're actually complementing. We're opening up a whole host of new opportunities.
Established a few years ago, the VFX has already attracted listings of several firms in the mining, agro-processing, retail, hospitality, and real estate, among others. Firms are listed on the market enjoy incentives such as 100% retention of their incremental export receipts, raising money in hard currency, and no capital gains tax for investors, among many others. Stanley James, ZBC News, Harare.
Well, we now take a look at the odds, where 20-year-old Mbira player Nyasha Nyakasaka has defied the odds by breaking into competitive music despite him having a visual impairment.
Nyasha Nyakasaka's musical journey began in Mbire, where he developed a passion for sim dancehall music by listening to radio from an early age. The young musician, who goes by the stage name Roman, however, ditched the dancehall genre after falling in love with the mbira instrument.
Ndaenzwawo pairiro masongs evamwe pandaiterawo radio saka zanzi ngori shungu dzangu inini kuti handingatadzewo here kuzviita sezvikuitwawo apapo ndo chakandipa shungu chakaita kuti ndichinje zim danso ndechekuti zim danso 1 yanga yawandirwa. That's number 1. Number 2 chakandipa shungu kuti ndipinde mumbira inye musambo wandandachinja wandanda kuimba unonzi Afrofusion.
Roman refuses to let his visual impairment hinder him from dreaming big and hopes to rise to the apex of the music industry as expressed in songs like Shungu.
Ndavanzwa vachiseka andisive chasekesa umoyo ndine denda asikuna mwari ndotenda daindaiona zvimwe daindaikona.
Blackside Afrofusion band has since taken Roman under its wings and hopes to assist him nurture his talent.
Takatarisa kuti ane talent iri raw iri yakanyanyisa isati yamboonekwa iye aigara kumusha so taona kuti akauyawo kutown tinokwanisa kugadzira zvinhu naye tichimubatsira.
The mbira player intends to record many albums in future and spread his wings in the music industry. Tapiwa Machemedze, ZBC News.
The main news will now take a break, returning with Anna Shem Rombezi on the sports desk.
In today's fast-paced world, paying in Zig is not just about exchanging physical cash. It's about tapping into the electronic payment space, where convenience meets technology. On Zimbabwe's stable, safe, sound, and efficient national payment system, experience seamless transactions at your fingertips, anytime, anywhere. Join the future of payments today with Zig. Secure, reliable, effortless. Pay the smart way. Pay with Zig.
75 days since the last day of last season. We are ready to do it all again.
Phil Foden is having the season of his life. Brilliant! Just brilliant! That is quite something!
Get all your football needs with DSTV for Business. Visit dstv.com/business and find the package that suits your business. They'll love it here.
My name is Matthew Chiro. I'm here as a farmer. Kurima center. Ndokati watibatsirawo takaona umani misisi. Uye wakazotibatsirawo nemabhiso fertilizers. Ukatipawo compound D uyewo neAN. Chibage chedu chasimukawo zvakanakawo. Other stage ratakazoshandisawo AN. Chibage chedu chakasimukawo zvakanaka. Uye tiutasirawo kuti tinge tine high grade. Kurima kune mari uye kurima center inotigonera.
High quality alcohol-free red common bricks for sale at affordable prices. Visit U Dow Bricks at Chikurubi Prison Farm, Harare. We are also recruiting salespeople.
Zimbabwe, where the sun kisses the earth, lies a world of endless opportunity.
Here, amidst the vibrant colors and lively exchanges, the spirit of abundance lives. Allow yourself the opportunity to connect and innovate. See the future of your business at the 114th edition of the Zimbabwe Agricultural Show.
Filled with ideas, new and radical, that are cultivating prosperity, growing business, innovating for change, and nurturing our future. From agriculture to agribusiness, and from agricultural education to agri-tourism, every sector finds a place to flourish here, where companies unveil their latest innovations and network with current and potential markets. SAS 2024, where the future of all business sectors is being written today.
Welcome to the Sports Corner. Anasha Murombedzi here with the latest in the world of sport. Starting off with what the nation has been waiting for. The Zimbabwe Football Association Normalization Committee has appointed 57-year-old German Michael Nies as the Warriors' new head coach.
The 57-year-old German has been tasked to lead the nation until the end of the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers with a contract running until December 2025. His first task will be to oversee two 2025 AFCON qualifiers set for September, where Zimbabwe will face Kenya and Cameroon. In a statement, ZIFA NC chairperson Lincoln Mutaza said that the football motherboard is confident Michael Nies' appointment will usher in a new era of success for the Warriors. Mutaza added that Nies' vast experience combined with his innovative coaching style makes him the ideal candidate to lead the national team to new heights. The UEFA Pro license holder, who played lower league football in Germany, has vast experience in coaching national teams, but has spent most of his time doing administrative work as a technical director or advisor. He has been a technical director for Kosovo and Israel, while he was also had advisory stints in Japan and South Africa. In terms of leading national teams, Nies took charge of Seychelles, Rwanda, and recently Kosovo under-21 team. The nomadic coach becomes the first substantive coach for the Warriors since Croat Zdravko Logarusic was fired in 2021. The normalization committee is due to appoint Nies assistant coaches. Lawrence Tusira, ZBC News, Harare.
Zimbabwean representatives in continental competitions, Ngeze Platinum Stars and Dynamos could have played their African club competition matches at home had the ZIFA Normalization Committee taken advantage of an olive branch extended by the Confederation of African Football (CAF).
Ngeze Platinum Stars will represent the country in the CAF Champions League, while Dynamos are playing in the CAF Confederation Cup. Both clubs will, however, have to host their opponents in the preliminary round outside the country, as there is no approved facility to host international matches in Zimbabwe. Ngeze Platinum Stars face AS Aminema of the Democratic Republic of Congo and have already settled for the National Hero Stadium in Zambia, while Dynamos will battle Zesco United of Zambia at the National Stadium in Gaborone, Botswana. This will be the first time that local clubs will play home games away from home in the African club competitions. Sadly, the situation could have been avoided had the ZIFA Normalization Committee taken advantage of a CAF reprieve. CAF issued a statement through their tournament and events director, Samson Adamu, which other associations, including the Football Association of Malawi and the Kenya FA, promptly responded to for federations to submit names of facilities to be assessed. The ZIFA Normalization Committee confirmed before the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee last week that they'd done nothing about the CAF reprieve with the deadline lapsing. The non-actioning of the reprieve has egged the Premier Soccer League, with chairperson of Nigeria calling out the Normalization Committee for not prioritizing local teams.
I feel we have got stadiums today. If we approach CAF, which can be homologated, if we present our case like what the Malawians did, we have got Baba Fields, Rufaro Stadium. If you look at that dressing room, it's world class. We can approach CAF and say, no, look, all the other safety measures are there. Why can't you allow us, while at least you're working on this, on 50 or 80%? Since other countries are doing it, we also have got the art stadium. It's one stadium which can be taken across to CAF and say, no, this stadium, and it was built in accordance with the CAF guidelines.
Interestingly, the 5,000-seater Hart Stadium was constructed by the football-loving prophet Walter Maga in Waterfalls with full CAF compliance. Lawrence Tusira, ZBC News, Harare.
Battle lines have been drawn in the finals of the National Association of Primary Heads Ball Games set for Bulawayo on Thursday.
10 provinces will battle it out in the National Association of Primary Heads NAF ball game set for Bulawayo this Thursday. While it will be a contest for bragging rights, NAF is using this year's meet as a platform to select the best team to represent the country in the upcoming Kosasa game set for Bulawayo in August. The host province has done all the groundwork to stage the double-header.
Each province is expected to bring a delegation strength of athletes of 140. So 140 per province, meaning we are going to accommodate those in 5 villages with 2 provinces in each village. The villages are the schools, whereas Bulawayo will take care of their welfare in terms of accommodation and feeding.
The United College of Education will be the main venue alongside Hartsfield's rugby ground. Teams are expected to arrive this Wednesday for vetting. ZBC News, Bulawayo.
And now we get an update straight from France. Zimbabwe swimmer Paige van der Veswesian announced her arrival on the world stage with a remarkable Olympic debut at the 2024 Paris Olympic Games this Tuesday. The talented young swimmer powered through the water to win Heat 1 with an impressive time of 58.19 seconds, securing a commendable 25th place overall out of 29 competitors. The win was, however, not good enough to secure a semi-finals berth this Wednesday. Fellow swimmer Denison Sopranos will compete in the 100-meter backstroke heat. That's it from the Sports Corner. Now let's take a look at the weather.
Yay!
Hello Zimbabwe and welcome to tonight's weather report and forecast. Hope I find you well. Looking at our satellite image with a bit of moisture over the southern parts of the country, giving us cloudy conditions over districts such as Beitbridge, Chirezi, Mwenezi, as well as Chipinge. By afternoon, these clouds had cleared off, giving us warm conditions across much of the atmosphere. It became rather cold towards evening. For tomorrow, however, we're still expecting a bit of moisture over the southern parts, giving us cloudy conditions over provinces such as Masvingo into the southern parts of Manikal, and the rest of the atmosphere should be clear with cold morning conditions becoming warmer as the day progresses. Our minimums are expected to be at 5 over Gweru, was Kadoma is at 7, 8 for areas such as Bulawayo, Mutare and Kwekwe, whilst Harare is at 9 in the morning. Our afternoon temperatures are all in the warm category, with even Bulawayo going as high as 30 with mostly sunny conditions, except for Mutare. We're expecting brief cloudy periods here and there. For areas such as Masvingo, we're still expecting brief cloudy periods in the morning hours with a minimum of 7 in the morning. Minimum of 3 is projected over Lupane. We're expecting a slight chance of frost. 6 for Marondera and Gwanda with a bit of cloudy conditions over Gwanda area. But this should fade off very early in the morning, whilst the other areas should be generally sunny and warm by afternoon. For holidays at Victoria Falls, it's also sunny and warm with a maximum of 31, 32 into Kariba with a minimum of 18. 7 is our minimums for Great Zimbabwe and Nyanga. We're expecting partly cloudy conditions over Nyanga area, with those cloudy conditions drifting into Chimanimani as well. For Matopos, it should be generally sunny and very cold in the morning, becoming much warmer as the day progresses. For outlook period, still more moisture is projected over the southern parts, even covering parts of Midlands into Matabele and South Masvingo, as well as Manicaland, but the rest of the atmosphere should be generally under clear skies. Warm by afternoon, but rather cold towards evening, whilst the southern parts should be mild for much of the day. That's all for the weather, and it's back to the news desk.
Well, and that brings us to the end of this news bulletin. Special thank you to Susan Masona on the sign language desk, the entire team behind the scenes, and Justin, this has been pleasant.
A pleasure indeed. Hope to do this again soon.
Hope so too. But from us it is good evening and good night.
Good night.